personal growth to business solutions, there is no limit to what you can imagine. It's time to reimagine banking. Centenary Bank, our bank.
Good morning and thank you for joining us right here on Luntha Television. This is time for press review, and in today's program you're with me, Jacqueline Saidi, and my colleague
Bernard Mwanza.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you, Jack?
I'm okay, how are you?
I'm fine as well.
Remember, in this program we'll look at some of the stories that are appearing in the papers of the nation in the Daily Times. To begin with the Nation, on the front page, court pens Uladi's fate. Part of the story expresses, this story has two subheadlines.
All right.
The first one expresses reservations with special pardon status and to communicate data of judgment. Part of the story, former Cabinet Minister Uladi Musa may have walked to freedom in April following his presidential pardon, but Malawi Supreme Court of Appeal holds his political future through its pending interpretation of President Lazarus Shikura's decision. In the case where the Supreme Court has said to interpret the President's decision on Musa, who was serving a 5-year prison sentence for abuse of office and neglect of duty while serving as Minister of Homeland Security in President Peter Mutharika's administration, the 9-judge panel sitting in Nurungu yesterday heard all of submissions from lawyers representing Musa and the Anti-Corruption Bureau. However, the court, which said it will communicate the date of its judgment in due course, expressed reservations with Musa's prison discharge certificate tendered in court, which showed that he was granted a special pardon.
Right, and on the front page of the Daily Times, a grim picture for Malawi education, and subheadlines say report says less than 40% learners transition to secondary school. So partly the story reads, a latest human capital review report released by the World Bank has painted a grim picture about the country's education sector. Among others, the report, titled Overcoming Challenges to Transforming Human Capital in Malawi, released in Lilongwe yesterday, says less than 40% of learners who start primary school transition into secondary school. The report, which was presented by the World Bank senior health specialist Chiho Skuzi, pegs the transition rate for boys at 35.8% and 36.4% for girls. I think we really need to do much as a country. Looking at the least number of us learners who go from primary to secondary, 40% is just too small number of learners who really, as a country, because we need more people being educated.
Of course.
So seeing such a small number of learners to proceed with education, that's when we find only very few people getting to colleges.
Yes, and I think that goes back to the issue of guardianship of these kids, because growing up I was taught that education is the most important thing, and my parents told me that that is the only thing that I have. If I get the papers, those are the only things that I'm going to have for the rest of my life, and no one can take that away from me. And I don't know what is going on Masikwa Noah, because you find most kids, they tell you straight to your face, or individual school or disability school, nothing is going to change. And if you look at many lifestyle, sometimes you tend to wonder, is it really of no essence at all? Because you find Woody and school to see the wind, and I mean, son of the school when I'm always the wind. So
such scenarios
is the Kumapa gets a Woody Anna are uninterested in the kuphunzira.
I can give an example to say you see that parents being teachers, parents are teachers, and then you say others having maybe attended in a school or higher education institutions, they are farmers, they are having cars, but your parents are teachers, they're having nothing, literally nothing. So
and these men, you know, it's saying a lot to the kids. And even we're privileged, you know, like this generation, different modality. We have social media, we have like my radio, TVs, many owners into we're exposed. We have the information, so even like my promotion as positive, my nieces into the exactly. So you know, these kids, they need to be motivated, and what way to motivate them than kutandiza and when even motivating and how many are winning kutandiza now kuti akule, like the teachers, even the nurses, and if they get motivated and these kids see that, they are going to see the essence and the importance of
role models.
Exactly. Moving on to the second page of The Nation, APM pegs cyclone recovery at 1.4 trillion. Part of the story, former President Peter Mutharika has issued a cyclone Freddy recovery plan, which puts the estimated requirement for disaster recovery and reconstruction at 1.34 US dollars. That's billion. Yes, which is about 1.4 trillion kwacha. The 21-page recovery plan, which is double the Malawi government's estimated cost of $680.4 million US dollars, highlights damages suffered by various sectors, including agriculture and livelihoods, education, health, nutrition, housing, transport, and energy, water, and sanitation. I'm not good with numbers. I just like have to put it out there. I'm not good with numbers, but I think a lot of things were destroyed during this period, and as a country, I think we have suffered. You know, this is it. This is the core of the suffering that we have been throughout.
1.4 trillion.
It's not even enough.
Yes, it's not enough.
Yeah, because if you look at the damages that the cyclone caused, because let's just look at construction of Nsewu. Many agugonza kulilonge guno wet, for example, when agugonza kuchokera along the central hospital road, kuchokera pamene bajaba muna kugafika roundabout, yes, that road. You know, try to estimate the amount of money that is going to be spent on the
and currently we are talking about fuel issues.
Yes.
For them to have access to fuel, it needs too much.
Even the labor, the machines, and operate machines, it's a lot of money.
Yes.
And then we're looking at women in Agumuga, and how many, Cyclone Freddy, you know, there are a lot of roads. And Dogamba School, and then you kiga Madzi,
bridge. Consider bridge, it takes too much money. And
it takes too much money, and at the same time, you know, like they have to hide that money. You know, so if you look at that issue, because that is the trend in Malawi, and we cannot hide that fact.
And we can't run away from that.
Yes, that is the core of it. We cannot hide that fact, and we cannot run away from that issue, or even mentioning that issue. And it's happening paripose, and because of substandard work. You know, zintu zijazoti abwira ntchito koma you look at the work. And as many zinapangitsa so kuti even namondo amene agaononge katundu wachonje. It was because of the same issue. Kugwira ntchito mosa kwanilitsa the quality of work imene ubanga deliver. So zinthu ngati zimene ndi zimene ndalama zimene zikutchulidwa apapa zimene zikutchulidwa ndi boma kuphatikizapo even zimene
zikutchulidwa zimene boma linayapanga estimate nzochepa kwambiri
kwa basi
fungani ukanga kuti 1.4 trillion ndi ndalama yochepa pamene boma inapanga half of that amount.
That means ndalamayo ndiyochepa kwambiri komanso ndiye kuti pamene popo pa ndalama yochepa imene anayika kaleyo pali kale ena amene akuyenera ajepo
mwachidule boma likamapanga mabudget lisamayione kuika yapadera yoti anthu akangodya mwaulere mwachinyengo
chifukwa zimene zikuchitika paliponse. It's not supposed to happen like that.
Yes.
But we cannot say that it is not happening because
until we curb this corrupt practice that is among us as Malawians. Yes. Because
zikuchulukira and anthu amene akuvutika ndi anthu amene sakuyenera kuti adzivutika because of anthu ena ake amene akufuna kungodyapo. You understand? Anthu ambiri they are benefiting from the backs of anthu amene amagwira ntchito molimbirira kwambiri.
You wonder kuti mwina malipiro awo anthu ndochepa koma zimene akukwanitsa kupanga moyo ndizochuluka kuposa msinkhu wawo just because of
This goes back to the issue of asset declaration in Malawi, and I think that story was featured on the news bulletin
yesterday.
Yes. Tukufunikadi kuti zinthu ngati zimene zichitike because anthu ena umadabwa. You know, ine ndili pano kukadziona zaka zanga kukawerengera ndi zaka za munthu wina kenaka ndikumati anzanga akukwanitsa kupanga zonseze. But then you try to follow those people and you know, their activities, what they do. It's not accounting for zinthu zimene ali nazo. Yes. So I think as a country we need to get serious because this is our money. It's not just ndalama za anthu amene ali maudindo amenewa. This is everybody's money and people akupindula pamisana pathu and it's not right.
All right, we have to move on the third page of the Daily Times. Parties advised against emotional decisions. And some commentators have advised political parties against making decisions out of frustrations as Malawi heads towards the 2025 general elections. The sentiments come in the wake of an announcement by Alliance for Democracy AFOD President Enoch Chihana that the party will go it alone in the elections. AFOD was one of the 9 parties that formed the Tonse Alliance led by President Lazarus Chakwera. One of the commentators, Chimwemwe Tsitsi, said parties should work on the gaps that were noticed in previous coalitions other than just ruling out alliances. I think that's another story. That's another thing that we have to do as a country, but mostly parties. Kutile Kongo dzuka kuti ayi ndatuluka ndi mapandeka basi mwina you don't have really ma policies okhazikika kapena ma structures kuti mukhonza kukwanitsadi kupanga zinthu. I think kwina kumangono ngano ma resources kena kudziganizira kaitoka kuti are we going to be able to provide for ourselves to run patoka kuti TTA. So muna ndinkanaonika ndithu kuti pali gap yanji tikulephera pati nkuunika zimenezo kuti ngati ma alliance ma coalition tipange ubale otani. I think zikhonza kuthandizanso kuti tipromotse ma resources ena amene tingaononga necessarily.
Yes, komanso zinthu ngati zimenezi zizi pa munthu wekha ukuyenera kukhala nkhani ya what you aspire to do for the nation. Because many chikuchulukira ngati dziko la Malawi, I think ndikupanda chikondi pa dziko lino.
Mwachidulo chingoti dyera.
Yes. So ndi issue ya dyera komanso kupanda chikondi pa dziko lino. Chifukwa zikuoneka zoti atsogoleri athu makamaka amene wandale zawo zimene akufuna ndikuti apindule iwowo ndi mabanja awo. So if ukulowa ngati ukupanga ukuyamba ndale kufuna kuyima kukhala mtsogoleri wa dziko chifukwa chofuna kudzitukula iwe wekha usati kutukula dziko zinthu sizingayende. This issue is going to be coming over and over again. Moving on, churches lobby court on same-sex relations. Part of the story, 3 mother bodies of faith groups have lobbied the judiciary not to legalize registration of organizations promoting same-sex marriages, as doing so will legalize same-sex marriages in the country. In a joint statement dated May 15, 2023, the Episcopal Conference of Malawi ECM, Malawi Council of Churches MCC, and the Evangelical Association of Malawi said they believe that legalizing same-sex relations in the country infringe on the religious liberties. Yes.
This issue, to say, as a country, Malawi, we are saying no to these other marriages. I think, as they have put it, they do infringe on people's liberty. Creation, degradation. Mulungu analenga chakuti, analenga chakuti, analenga chakuti. If A is A, we can't say A is B. No. End of the story.
I think that goes to the morals of each and every single individual, because I think they will also have their own backing points on this.
Of course, they do have.
So I think Pobanga consider Tawi. Let's just move on to the business part.
All right, yes. And moving on to the business. In the Business Times, RBM committee fight over gold purchases. The Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources and Climate Change has faulted the Reserve Bank of Malawi's RBM's involvement in gold purchasing, claiming it is fueling illegal mining activities. But the central bank says it is operating the government, rather its jurisdiction, and in line with the set legal instruments. The government, through the Export Development Fund, EDF, and RBM Enterprise, started buying the gold in May 2021.
Weak kwacha costs threat to food security. This story has a subheadline. World Bank says that local news prices to remain high. This was expected anyways. Part of the story, the World Bank says high production costs and the kwacha depreciation pose a major risk to local food prices and threatens the country's food security as well as economic stability. In its food security update for May 2023, the bank observed that food prices in Malawi, including maize prices, are expected harvest and post-harvest periods because of high input prices and transport costs. This is so true because Antoine Billy City Malimba Makala, because you look at Atamene down the mono and the land that is there available for Antugudi Tikali Mepo, the Malo Oshika Wambili. And Antoine we prefer to go into deep villages to go to the Galime. Ine kumuzugwatu ndikuncheu ndikalima kuncheu ine kumuzugwatu kwachiseka ubu ndikalima kwachiseka. So yeah, and if you look at the cost of transport imena kunenayo, even kuti ukayipeze transport yoga kunyamulira chimanga kumunda, yoga kunyamulira soya kumunda, ukapeza kuti mafuta sukwapeza. And kuti ukapeze mafuta amene ayenera akakunyamulire akukuchaja chitengo chochuluka kwambiri. Kupitaso kumene kujoka nyamula soya wako anagwidwa ndi matenda, kubwera kuno ena adzikuza zoti ugulitse thumba la soya pa 10,000 sizingagwire. And this is expected. And I think we're never going back as a country. This is going to keep going. And this is reflecting bad on the leadership of the country.
I think just to an extension to that, before we move on to arts and culture, because of time, farmers decry low ground nuts prices. The thing we were talking about, to say you have that huge quantity of the commodity, but selling it at a very low price. Groundnuts farmers have lamented low prices vendors are offering for the crop, a situation they fear would affect their return this year. Some farmers that the Times spoke to in Msanji district say some vendors are demanding to be buying the commodity below the government set minimum price. The government set 800 kwacha per kilogram as the minimum buying price for unshelled groundnuts. The farmers say vendors are buying the commodity at 400 kwacha per kilogram, half of the set amount.
Yes. And zintu sizizenda bwino. And mavenda omwewa ndizimene anthu ambiri timagamba, speculations might not be true, might be true, and with this country you can't really know. It's just to do with kugagula zokolola mamidzi. eti tukugamba kuti admag amayenera kuti alimeneko ayamba kugula zinthu so that alimi athe kupindulako kapena kupezako kaphindu kamene kali kochepabe koma athe kukapezako kudzera mu njira ngati zimezi. But up until today I don't think there is one who has actually come up front saying kuti wagulidwako mbewu zake ndi admag. And mavenda amene akugulawa they are buying zinthu zimene zizi almost half the price that was set, and the others zazigulitsa zinthu zimene zizi kwa admag at the set price. Ndiye kuti iwowo sanagwire ntchito but they are benefiting from the backs of the farmers. And nchifukwa yake alimena amanena zoti, you know what, I'm not going to sell my crops. And at the end of the day we hear issues of smuggling goods. Munthu kupezeka zoti katundu wako yemwe ukumuzembetsa mu dziko muno kukamugulitsa ku Zambia ukamugulitsa ku Tanzania because they are offering good prices. And I think ngati dziko pali maundu ambirimbiri amene akuyenera kutengapo gawo pamene pa homeland security, even yawawa agriculture omwewa kuti even amabungwe akuyenera kulowererapo kuti cholinga choti alimi athe kupindula, and not just alimi amalawi, because the people that are buying these goods ambiri ndi Burundi, because you go and see them, you find them, they are stacked up. But yes, so I think ngoyenera kuti tionetsetse kuti zinthu zizwina zinda bwanji.
All right.
Moving on to the arts and culture, students to battle for UNICEF is surprised. Part of the story, UNICEF University has organized an essay writing competition for secondary school students in the country. The participants have been asked to submit their innovative ideas on the themes of information and communications, technology and entrepreneurship.
All right, Faith Musa to star at Investment Forum in South Africa. Celebrated musician Faith Musa of the Mdidi fame will perform at the Malawi Investment Forum at Emperor's Palace in Johannesburg, South Africa on May 24th to May 25th this year. The singer and guitarist, who has performed a number of high-profile events flying the country's flag, said yesterday he was excited to get another opportunity to star at the Investment Forum. He also said that he has widened his scope by building himself as a corporate artist, and that this platform is the right stage for him to show how serious he was in the game.
If you have any other arts and culture stories, maybe you might take them before.
I think we're going to move on to the back pages.
All right, moving on to the back pages. This is the sports part. I won't go for names. The story has a subheadline, Flames coach outlines selection criteria. Part of the story, Flames interim coach Patrick General Mabedi has outlined his selection criteria ahead of next month's 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Ethiopia, and stressed that he won't be influenced by names. The Malawi national football team is expected to go into camp this Sunday in Luntha, and the caretaker coach said he will name the squad as well as his backroom staff by Saturday.
And Topwa ICAF 20, the newly crowned farm national women's champions in Topwa Super Queens have disclosed plans to participate in the third edition of the CAF Women's Champions League. Ntopwa qualified for the competition by virtue of being Malawi Women's Champions after a 5-3 victory over Ascent Academy in post-match penalties at Impira Stadium on Monday. However, Ntopwa have to pass domestic club licensing to be eligible to participate in the tournament.
If you have any other stories we should take, you can take them before we close up.
Well, I think just quickly, Mwari Priyasha shine in chess. I think that's another story that we don't normally talk about in as far as sporting is concerned. Chess stars Joseph Mwari and Priyasha Santosh Shriyan underlined their class when they defended National Open chess titles at Amaris Hotel in Blantyre. The 4-day championship ended on Monday. It attracted 26 players in the open section and 14 in the ladies category. Mwari collected 7.5 points to defend the accolade, while Precious Kamwendo ended on the second position with 7 points.
All right, and that also wraps up today's program of Press Review. Remember, in this program, we look at some of the stories appearing in the papers, which are the Daily Times and The Nation. For you to get a full picture of what is happening, you may wish to purchase your own papers, of which the Daily Times is going at 1,200 kwacha, while The Nation newspaper is going at 1,000 kwacha. In this program, you were with me, Jacqueline Saidi, and my colleague,
Brilliant Mwanza.
Thank you very much for watching Luntha Television, and remember to always stay safe.